Assalamu alaikum and a very warm welcome to the special episode on Diwali on PTV World. I am Tayyaba Nisar Khan bringing you this special episode, which of course is very significant because the Hindu minority of our country is celebrating it with, of course, and we are celebrating it with them because this is the interfaith harmony and interfaith religious harmony that we're working towards, especially on PTV World, because we know this is a festival of lights, as they say. This is the significance of lightness over darkness, as they say. This is the triumph of lightness over darkness, and that is something which is not only celebrated in Hinduism but also all across the other religions as well, and we're going to celebrate that with today. So let's go a little on the details of what Diwali really is. It basically starts on the lunar calendar, so they also follow the lunar calendar, and this significance of the lunar calendar, of course, is seen by that as well. The 9th of Kartik, that's when Diwali starts, and it's spans over a 5-day event. So the first day is basically called the Dhanteras, where they buy something new. It's very significant for them as well. And then we go towards Narak Chaturdasi, which is called the Choti Diwali, where they start lighting up the diyas and divas, as they call it, and that's where Diwali in itself comes from. And then there's the Lakshmi Puja, which is the basic event of Diwali in itself, and that is going to fall on November the 4th this year. And of course then the Govardhan Puja, and then the last day it ends on the Bhai Dooj, which is going to celebrate the brotherly and sisterly bond between the siblings, and that is the significance of Diwali in itself. It's a 5-day event which is very significant because this is the day where after 14 years of exile, the Lord Rama, he came back to his wife Mata Sita as well as his brother Lakshman, and that is after the defeating of evil, the darkness, the light came over, and it destroyed the darkness. So that is what it's all about. And it's not just the darkness of the Lord who won over the darkness, not rather light of the Lord who won over the darkness, but it's the light in every person. It's the struggle that a person has to continue, the light over darkness, our good over evil, ensuring that every little detail of ours to win, to something where we ensure that our life is based on this practice, where we try to ensure that the goodness in ourselves defeats the evil in ourselves, because every person is yin and yang, right? Every person has a little bit of evil and a little bit of good as well. So we have to ensure that the goodness prevails, because that's what this event is about, and of course so many other religious events as well. So the esteemed panel of our special show on Diwali is, we have been joined in studio by our guest Mr. Mahesh Kumar, who's currently the DG of Overseas Pakistanis, and he's also had 20 years of management experience across the public as well as private sector. And on the Karachi studio we have been joined by Miss Mangla Sharma, who is the Member Parliament of Sindh, and she is also worked at UNDP extensively, and also Mr. Asaram Alamchandani, who's the environmental consultant, and he's also an engineer. Also he has details of Hindu religious studies. He's excelled in that, and he has also of course worked towards that, which we will talk about further and ask him what exactly the significance of Diwali is. So thank you all for joining us in the studio as well as in the Karachi studio. So I'm going to go on to you first. We know that Diwali is a festival of light. It's a festival of colors. There's Rangoli, there are dances, there's this whole festivity that comes across. So what is the significance of this festivity, the light over darkness?
Thank you, Tayyaba. In fact, indeed, it's a privilege for us that you have invited us over here and doing an exclusive show on the Diwali festival. As you know that this is the time for the victory of the evil over the victory of the good over the evil. So this particular concept is not only in the Hindu religion but across all the religions as well. So when Lord Rama defeated Ravan and he came back to Ayodhya, where the other persons were waiting for him to take over the control of the throne over there. So all the people became very happy over there. They started putting the colors on each other. They opened up the lights of their, the homes and all the streets as well. So indeed that particular concept was, it was conceptualized that in every religion these particular moments came. And one should not, one should not forget those particular things where all these particular gods, they have defeated the evil over there. So in every religion it is being celebrated. The significance of Diwali for the new generation is that whenever you do a very good thing, whenever you feel that you have achieved something, you have to celebrate it. And this, the whole concept is coming from the Diwali festival basically. And this is the traditional thing. And apart from that, there are some religious, the significance, which I'm sure my other panelists who are more senior to me, they will shed light on this.
Okay,
Thank
perfect.
you.
So let's go to the other panelists. Mr. Asaram Alamchandani, you have some significance over the religious studies as well. I want to understand the festivity of Diwali. How is it spanning over the 5 days? What is the significance of each day, especially the basic day where your puja, the Lakshman puja takes place and the Diwali is considered that day?
This is actually, as you told, that this is 5 days celebration, and out of that, the first day was yesterday. It was called Dhanteras, and Dhanteras means the wealth day. So Dhanvantari was the Lord which came out of churning the sea by Daman and as well as Devta we call. So the day started from yesterday, and Dhanvantari Dhanteras was celebrated yesterday, and now today is Kali Chaudas. Kali Chaudas and Roop Chaudas and Choti Diwali, these are different names given to today's celebration by different areas. So Kali Chaudas means yesterday it was Saraswati Puja also. There are 3 Devis, Saraswati, Kali, Lakshmi. Yesterday it was Saraswati, today is Kali, and tomorrow will be Lakshmi, the final day of the Puja of Lakshmi. Then next day will be Govardhan Puja. After that, Bhai Dooj, that final celebration day, sisters invite their brothers, and they enjoy their gathering and all these things. Now the 3 Devis, they are very important in our religion, and these 3 Devis are definitely to be worshipped before the Lakshmi Puja. One is, as I told, Saraswati, then Kali, and now the last will be Lakshmi. But Shri Ram is the main character of this entire episode. As my brother from Islamabad told, that it is definitely good and evil. This is called, what you say, that success, and it is not that one, but the thing is how Ram was given this assignment, how Ram got birth. It is a very big story which I cannot explain over here in a very short time. But the thing is, Ram was cursed by Narad Muni, and he has to come on earth and take birth and to kill Ravan and Kumbhakaran. So this was all pre-planned, in other words. So Ram was born in Suryavanshi and Raghuvanshi, they are called, the family, and Suryavanshi, and another one is Chandravanshi. So Suryavanshi have upper hand on the Chandravanshi, and it is a saying that Jaan jaye, vachan na jaye, means Shri Ram was given imprisonment of 14 years because of his second mother. So he has to go to jungle and live isolated over there for 14 years. But he was given an assignment to kill Ravan and Kumbhakaran also. And he was to get support from monkeys, and that monkey's head was Sugriv, and Hanumanji was the main episode of this one. After that, when his father died, and he was to give the be given this kingdom, but his second mother wanted his son to be given the kingdom. That was Bharat. But Bharat refused that thing, and he was away from that one when the king died, Dasrath, their father. So he has to return back, and he refused to become the king, and he attempted to bring back Ram, but Ram said, no, I have to oblige my father's directions, and he has to remain 14 years. So Lakshman was accompanied with him. Now Ram was the avatar of Vishnu, and Lakshman was the avatar of his snake on where Vishnu rests all the time. And Lakshmi, that was Sita, came in the form of Sita, and she became wife of Ram. And two more brothers, Bharat and Shatrughan, they were also somewhat in the episode, and they all have to come there. And in the end, everyone wanted to go along with the Shri Ram. Now the thing is, one thing is told that Yamdeep was burnt yesterday, and I have received a message that it can be burnt today also. Now Yamdeep, why? Because after killing of Ravan, they were all Rakshas, demon. So there is a concept that their soul get attached with Ram and other who were there, present there. So their Yam means the death, that may accompany with them. So that's why people was guided by the Rishi Vishwamitra, not Rishi Vishwamitra, the Vishast, that this will be purified by burning a lamp outside gate, and its direction should be to south, because from Ayodhya, Lanka was towards south. And after that, he said that lamp will protect the Yam will not enter in Ayodhya. And after that, they said we have to pray Kuber. Kuber is the one who is made as a wealth giver. And Lakshmi even get wealth from Kuber. Kuber was assigned this designation by Lord Shiva, that is mentioned in the Vedas.
Very interesting indeed. We're going to come back to you, but we're going to go to Ms. Mangla Sharma first now. So Ms. Mangla Sharma, you were in the Women Commission of Sindh as well, you're the Member Parliament as well. So what is the role of women in Diwali? What was the role of women at that time? And right now, how do women specifically celebrate Diwali?
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Asaram gave the whole history of the Diwali. First of all, I would like to congratulate you for this special episode and say that Diwali greetings for all over the world for the Hindus. If I say Diwali in lighter mode, to say the wear new dresses, means the food, gifts, lights and the firecrackers is a simple thing as a Diwali. Like कहते हैं ना कि Diwali दिल से, then that's why the women are the very very difficult. There's a who to clean the whole the homes, to wear the new dresses, all the things, and all the time like the other religions women, the Hindus women are also in the kitchen to make the sweets and the foods and everything is the world.
Absolutely, that's very, very interesting to note as well. And you have to buy something new on the first day, which was yesterday, according to what Mr. Asaram was saying earlier on as well. So buying something new, what does that signify? What is the significance of buying something new, and why something new?
That is on Dhanteras day. Dhanteras means if we are buying gold or something made from particularly copper or that kind of thing, but never steel thing, steel or iron thing. So this will make more person a wealthy than one is expecting that thing. This is the thing, and that gold is also offered on the Diwali day while we are doing Lakshmi Puja. That gold is offered to this Kuber, and a mantra is also to be recited to make more wealthy. Now Shri Ram is married to Lakshmi in the form of Sita, and Lakshmi has upper hand on Kuber for distributing it. But the one thing is, while if we will go and see that Lakshmi is always sitting in the foot, near the foot of the Vishnu Bhagavan. And why it is so? Once it was asked by Lakshmi, and while Lakshmi is coming to any house, it is standing, it is not sitting. Sitting is, she says, when Al-Lakshmi, that is another, Al-Lakshmi means a shade of her, that is in other form like a demon. She is also following Lakshmi, and when she comes, Lakshmi comes, behind that is the Al-Lakshmi, and therefore Al-Lakshmi, while Lakshmi is coming there and Al-Lakshmi is following her, so if she is doing good for them, Al-Lakshmi do bad for them. So that depends upon the family or the house, how they are welcoming the Lakshmi. So
absolutely, that's a very interesting thing that you've mentioned, Mr. Asaram, that it depends on the house as well. Now, going back to you, Mr. Mahesh Kumar, I've read it somewhere that every family, if there are about 2 or 3 Hindus sitting, then they're going to have 5 different ways of celebrating Diwali. How do you celebrate your Diwali?
Yeah, in fact, we have the very simple, the thing that is being accepted by all religions as well. We on the Diwali day, before the Diwali day, we have to make a proper cleanness of our houses.
Okay.
And make the proper arrangement of that our house is properly lightened up. That is the basic purpose. Then we enter the house on the Diwali day, there must be the proper lighting, proper cleanness and so on. On the Diwali day, we started celebrating the Diwali with the puja. That's basically the prayer. And as Asaram tells that because on Dhanteras we have to buy the gold. Especially the importance of gold is that if you have the gold in those days, you are prosperous. Okay. That was the thought. And since then, the goddess Lakshmi, the concept of goddess Lakshmi is if she comes to your home, you become the prosperous.
Okay.
And prosperity, as in the olden days, was linked with become the richer. Richer, that means you buy the gold, gold comes to your house, you then started becoming richer. This is the conceptual thing. So when we do the puja with this particular gold things, which we call the guineas basically, the guinea is basically, it's a gold material. You can buy from anywhere that I need the guinea. So guinea is basically gold. With the gold, that particularly gold is put into the in the milk, and with this particular guinea thing, you have to put on your mouth, on your lips, on your eyes, so that the Lakshmi can come to you basically.
Okay,
the ultimate concept is we start the Diwali procedure with that. That is very important. And after that, we meet with the friends. Then we lighten up, we then fire we do the fire cracking. So that is also important, that we are very happy. We want to show the world, we want to show everybody that we are meeting somebody, we are eating the things, we are cleaning the house, we are making the lights up in order to, show our happiness.
Exactly.
That today is the happiest moment for us. And as the religious significance, Asaram told that the Lord Rama, after spending the 14 years in the Banvas, in the jungle, he came back after defeating the Ravan, who was the very powerful, so-called the powerful at that time. So the same happiness come to us that today we are very happy that we are following the ethics, we are following the goodness.
Absolutely.
We are following the people who are having the knowledge rather than the ignorance.
Now, going on to this, that he was a very powerful king at that time, of the king of Lanka. So defeating him meant that he was somebody, a very powerful figure being defeated by someone else. That's a very, very signifying thing. It's a very important, significant development. So how important is it for the youth of today, and not just the youth, for the people, all the people today, to learn the fact that you can, despite not being very powerful, still beat the powerful enemy, which is evil?
Right. I think you have rightly pointed out, because when we say the Ravan, if you look into the today's world, there isn't type of the Ravan.
Now it's become a metaphor.
Exactly. It's a metaphor for the everybody. The Ravan is basically, he was very greedy, he was stubborn, and he has some basic unnecessary incident himself. Apart from then, Ravan was the Pandit basically, and Pandit at those time, the knowledgeable person. Even I remember once I read in the book that when the Ravan was killed by Lord Rama, the Lord Rama sent his brother Lakshman to go and sit with the Ravan, because he is the Pandit, try to take some good thing from him. He has the knowledge.
So we can learn from the person who is supposedly the evil as well.
Yes, exactly. Because he has the knowledge at the time. Right now we have the internet, whatever the question we want, we can put it on the Google, but at that time the knowledge is transferred from one person to another. So this was the one aspect of the Ravan. But ultimately, as we discussed, that Ravan has become the metaphor in today's world. That means for today's generation, the important thing is that do the right things.
Absolutely.
If you see anything is going bad, try to fight that. Don't accept it. This is the message of the core message of the Diwali for the younger generation.
How important is for women to be in leadership positions as well, and what lesson do you learn from this entire event of Diwali?
Diwali, it's beginning in the Hindus, and Diwali is celebrating not only the Hindus. The Sikhs, Jains, Buddhists also celebrating the Diwali festival. And in Pakistan, the leadership, we are in politics. हमारे लिए मुश्किल होती है कि हम एज लीडरशिप बहुत सारी चीज़ों को देख रहे होते हैं. माइनॉरिटीज़ यहाँ पर जो जिस तरह से अपने फेस्टिवल्स को सेलिब्रेट कर रही होती है, बहुत इजीली, बहुत अच्छे तरीके से, कोई हमें किसी किस्म की कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती. और अभी भी मैं एक प्रोग्राम अटेंड करके आ रही हूँ जिसमें तमाम सारे मेजॉरिटी के लोगों ने, पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज़ के लोग थे, और सब ने मिलकर हमने केक कटिंग की थी. तो पाकिस्तान में से एक बहुत अच्छा मैसेज आता है, और जो हमारी नेबरिंग कंट्रीज़ हैं वहाँ पर इस तरह के मैसेजेस नहीं आ रहे होते. और कि अगर दिवाली हो और वहाँ पे मुस्लिम भी हो, सिख भी हो, और भी दूसरे क्रिश्चियंस भी हों, और मिलकर अगर सेलिब्रेट करें, तो ये इंटरफेथ हार्मनी की एक बहुत अच्छी मिसाल है. लेकिन क्या हम ये देखते हैं कि इस तरह के और कंट्रीज से इस किस्म के मैसेजेस, और अगर मुस्लिम्स की कोई है फेस्टिवल है उस पर आ रहा है, वो एब्सोल्युटली नॉट, वहाँ से नहीं आ रहे होते. तो ये इस चीज़ की बहुत ज़रूरत कि पाकिस्तान में ये हर किस्म की माइनॉरिटी जो है बहुत अच्छी तरीके से अपनी चीज़ों को सेलिब्रेट भी कर रहे हैं. और हमें बहुत स्टेट की तरफ से भी हमें सिक्योरिटी भी है, प्रोटेक्शन है, और गवर्नमेंट हर लेवल पर हमें सपोर्ट कर रही होती है. इस वक्त अगर आप चले जाएँ आज पाकिस्तान के हर छोटे से छोटे मंदिर में, तो गवर्नमेंट ने उन्हें सिक्योरिटी भी प्रोवाइड की है, वहाँ पे सफाई सुथराई हर चीज़ वहाँ पर मौजूद है. तो ये हमारे लिए एक बहुत ऑनर की बात है कि यहाँ पर हम इस तरह से बड़ा फ्रीली और विदाउट एनी फियर हम लोग अपने सेलिब्रेट कर रहे होते हैं अपने फेस्टिवल्स को.
Absolutely. It's wonderful to hear that the state has provided you with all the security and that you're living freely as well as celebrating all your religious festivities freely as well, because that's what we want you to do, and we want from us to learn from you and for you to learn from us, because that's what this entire world is all about. We're humans and we're all the same at the end. We all have the same needs, we have the same requirements, and we have the same feelings as well. I was just talking to Mr. Mahesh Kumar as well right now, and I would want to continue with that we, at the end, the humans, they have all the same desires, the same experiences, the same feelings as well. We want to be a good person. What is the definition of being a good person? How can we ensure that we treat each other ethically, and we also ensure that the relationship between all the religious communities is very, very prosperous? Yeah,
in order to ensure that there must be a consistency in the interfaith harmony, there must be a tolerant society. Everybody needs to tolerate whatever the concepts are, whatever the methodology are. We have to understand the basic concept of the good human, that is, you need to understand what the other person is thinking about. You know, all the persons, they are the human creatures, and there is a one God over there. Whatever you call it, Avatar, God Rama, or God Lakshman, or God Shiva, but the ultimate creator is the one. That means everybody has to follow the only one supreme God, and their message is quite clear. You need to care the other persons, that is very important. You need to facilitate other. You need to understand the needs of the other persons who are needy, who have some expectation from you. If you develop these particular instincts in yourself, you become the good person basically. And whatever the religion you are following, religion is basically giving you the purpose of the life. And if we want to become a good person, we need to understand the desires, the needs, what the other people are saying. We need to become tolerant basically.
Absolutely.
We don't have to become brush, oh, your thinking is like that, we think like that. That is irrational, that is illogical, and that doesn't show any purpose.
That's exactly why we're holding this program right now currently, in order to ensure that people actually know the difference and all these similarities, because the similarities are too many. There are so many similarities that we have to tap on those similarities to ensure that we learn from these similarities among each other, and then we share it, because that's the bond which is going to be the supreme bond of all. Now let's talk to Mr. Asaram Alamchandani. We know that you're an environmentalist as well, you're an environmental consultant as well. So how can we ensure that Diwali is celebrated in a way which is also environmentally conscious, and also how do we ensure that the youth of today, you know, the digitized youth, the globalization after the digital revolution, how is the difference of Diwali being celebrated at that time and now in the digital revolution?
In fact, Diwali is celebrated almost entire world, because I have traveled around 50 countries and have met Hindus everywhere. And Sikh over there, they too celebrate
Absolutely,
this
the
Diwali.
Sikhs as well.
And one thing, sorry?
Yes, the Sikhs celebrate the Diwali as well. Mr. Alamchandani, can you hear us?
You?
Yes, please continue.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Alamchandani, how can we ensure that Diwali today is in an environmentally conscious way? How do we ensure that it's celebrated environmentally consciously?
We celebrate at home, because in our hometown where I was born, there was a good gathering and everything, and here there are many gatherings in temples and everywhere, but youngsters are there, and being a senior citizen, so I have to take care, and my family, definitely they join them, and they are celebrating by crackers and distributing sweets and everything. But the thing is, I must tell you one thing more. This Ram has also traveled to Karachi, and this Aram Bagh, now named, it was Ram Bagh, and there is a small temple also. So he has traveled to Hinglaj. Hinglaj is our main Tirath Yatra, and he has also to go there also. After killing Ravan, he asked his Guruji, that was Vishas, that I have made a sin, so I want to get out of that sin. So he said that you have to travel to Hinglaj. And Hinglaj, I don't know whether you are aware about that. Hinglaj is 250 kilometers from Karachi towards Coastal Highway, this Gwadar, and it is on the way. And we do go there, and we that is our biggest one of the Tirath Yatra. And after that, one more thing I must tell you. The Ram have two sons, Love and Kush, and Love has lived in Lahore, and the fort presently over there, that was initially built in his days. There is a signboard, I can't read that thing. I have visited there. It is in some other language what was spoken over there. So that was, and then Love Hana means I am also Love Hana. We are from that love children and our elders and all these, and we traveled from Lahore onwards to Multan and then Gujarat and then again to Sindh.
So that means that Pakistan is also very significant in this celebration, especially historically as well. I'm sorry to cut you short over here. We'll be back with more details and we'll be asking you more questions regarding Diwali after this short break. Welcome back after the break. We were talking about Diwali and the significance of Diwali, and of course Ravan as a metaphor of evil, and who was a very greedy person, and of course Lord Rama who beat him and who was victorious, and then the Diwali celebrations took place. We were talking with our panelist, of course, Mr. Mahesh Kumar in the studio, in the Karachi studios. We have been joined by Ms. Mangla Sharma, who is the MPA, and also Mr. Asaram Alamchandani, who has joined us from the Karachi studios. Okay, let's talk to you, Mr. Mahesh Kumar. We know that the obligation towards commitment, that was very significant. We were talking to Mr. Asaram and he told us about the significance of that and the entire historical aspect of that as well. So Lord Rama, he obliged to the commitment of staying there for 14 years despite being called back. So what is the significance of commitment, the significance of that, and of course knowing the younger generation, and not just the younger generation, the people, the day-to-day lives, we do not fulfill our commitment. So how significant is commitment?
I think the answer is in your question basically. One has to understand the teachings of the Lord Rama. As you already mentioned that he gave the commitment to his father, and the commitment the father took him not because of Ram's mother, it was the Ram's stepmother who wanted his, the real child Bharat to sit on the throne basically. So, but the Lord Rama, he never comforted with his father. He said, whatever you are saying, I am your son and you are my father. The father's wordings for the Lord Rama was the supreme. He said, I will follow that. Whatever the background is, either she was told not by mother, by the ones, my step brother's mother, but for me, it is the commitment, it is the wording, it is the vachan that Lord Rama has given to his father. So the message is quite clear that if you are in this particular materialistic world, even then you have to follow your commitments. You have to respect your elders. If you are not following those particular footsteps, ultimately, whatever, if you earn a lot of money and think of yourself that I have become the richer and prosperer, believe me, at the end, you will have some regrets for you, because we have to follow those particular footsteps of the Lord Rama. And due to this is, he spent the 14 hours there. When he came back, he received a lot of applause from the other public as well. The respect among the other public, which was the basically waiting for Lord Rama, has become more, the energetic. The Lord Rama then spent, he became the king of the Ayodhya, and he was the judicious king over there. And every public, every citizen over there, they respected Lord Rama more than what their father, was doing as the king over there.
So you've touched upon the family bond, how significant the bond of family, father and mother is, and how significant the bond of a brother and a sister is. And we know that in the last day of Diwali, there is a celebration of the sisterly and brotherly bond. What is the significance of all the religions coming together and accepting that there's this basic ethics that we all follow in all the religions all across? And how do we ensure that, these teachings are given to one another and we diffuse these teachings because they're all the same?
Yeah, you are very right. One thing before I answer your question, it was not the vachan of only Ram to his father, but the sibling, the Lakshman as well. One important story which is very, during the Diwali, the elders used to tell their children as well. The Lakshman was with the Lord Rama, and at that time Sita was also living with the Ram and the Lakshman as well. And at one stage somebody asked the Lakshman, if Sita, she is your, I mean the bhabhi, what you call it, in the sister-in-law, if she comes before you, do you be able to recognize her? He said, no, I never looked into her eyes. I always looked into her feet, because that was the respect for the women basically. So in Hinduism, it's very, very important that you respect the women also.
That's exactly the same in Islam, because also in Islam we're not supposed to gaze directly into the female's eyes or the male's eyes. We're supposed to give them respect, and for that many people in Islam and Muslims as well, they look down and they do not directly stare. So that's a very significant similarity that
similarity as well. So that's the point. Now your question is that in all the religions, these ethical things are being taught.
Exactly.
The elders all will tell their, I mean the young generation, that you have to follow the whatever the religion you are for, you have to follow what is the basic purpose of the life and what are the good things into that. This is one of the good things you have mentioned. This is a similar thing in the Islam as well, and I'm very sure that is a similar thing in the Jainism, in the Sikhism, in the Buddhism. These are the basic ethical things in all the religions, and if we follow those particular things, I mean whatever the religion is giving us, because these are the things which are decades ago has been happened, and if we continue following things and just translate all these good things to our new generation, then ultimately there must be a consistent society that's called the interfaith harmony basically.
Exactly.
That's the dream basically.
The consistency in the society of the interfaith harmony, that's a very significant and very interesting thing as well, because interfaith harmony is not just about respecting each other's religion, it's also about trying to understand each other's religion, trying to find the similarities. Of course there are differences, there are very principled differences as well, but then finding the similarity and ethics all over in all the religions, mostly they are the same, and that's what we're celebrating today as well, along with Diwali as well. And now going to Mr. Asaram, what is your message on this Diwali for the youth of Pakistan, for the Hindu minority of Pakistan, for the Muslims of Pakistan? What is your message?
For Pakistan, I will say that harmony, unity, interfaith, as Mahesh Kumar told and Mangla also told. The thing is, we are living here, we are born here, and we want to live here and want respect and interfaith and unity and harmony. So that is my message to everyone living in Pakistan. But definitely things are coming somewhat different, which we've seen in our childhood. I am in Karachi since last 58 years and celebrating my Diwali with nicely, and I have no issue at all. I am living with my brother Muslims, and they have never objected for anything there, but still sometimes some people have some reservations, but we request them that this is our festival and you must also favor us so that we may enjoy our festival. And I will also congratulate and greet entire universe on this one, and I will also pray Lord Rama to bless Pakistan for its prosperity and more growing and glowing and shining with our good things, and they shall also provide us whatever they can that can be possible. Because
thank you so much, Mr. Asaram Alamchandani and Ms. Mangla Sharma, for joining us and for such beautiful remarks as well on the auspicious occasion of Diwali. Thank you for joining us from the Karachi studio, and we wish you a very peaceful and happy Diwali as well. Mr. Mahesh Kumar, what is your last message on the occasion of Diwali for the Muslims of Pakistan, for the Hindus of Pakistan, for all the other religious communities of Pakistan, and are you going to invite me to your house maybe for Diwali as well?
I think I will take this this opportunity, and as Asaram told and Miss Mangla told that they are living in the Karachi, I wish I would be there, because there we have a lot of our basic memories. Our friends are over there. With this particular, I just want to give the message to my old friends whom we used to celebrate in my hometown Larkana around 3 decades earlier. On the day of the Diwali, they become dressed up earlier than me, and they usually used to come to my home and knock to my, the house, that please come soon, we have to go around the city and do some firecrackers and so on. So I still remember those particular days. Here in Islamabad, you are most welcome. We are going to celebrate Diwali at our homes, and at every Diwali, we get the permission from the, the Deputy Commissioner office. They gave us the permission that you can do the fireworks. But the point here is you don't have to give the harm to anybody else.
Absolutely.
Which is very, very important. And it is also related with the environmental as well, that you have to take care of those particular things. This Diwali is basically the celebration. As we, during the start of the program, you mentioned it's the victory of the good over the evil. So that message is in all the religions. Whatever the religion we are, we have to celebrate together. Either it's a Eid, either it's a Diwali, it's a Holi or Christmas. This is the right time that we should give this message to the entire world, that Pakistan comes first, then all other things. And we are the part of the Pakistan. We have to follow this interfaith harmony. This is in the interest of every person. If all the persons enjoy all these celebrations together, the message to the world will go very, very clear that we are following the basic principles of what the human is all about.
Absolutely, we're following the basic principles of what the human is all about, and that is interfaith harmony, that is religious harmony, that is different harmonies all across races, gender, ages, everywhere. Of course, we're celebrating Diwali today with our Hindu brothers and sisters, and we celebrate all of you, whoever is celebrating, a very, very happy, peaceful, and full of joy Diwali, where you light the candles, where you light the diyas, and we also you have a lot of sweet moments with your family and your friends as well. And I hope you have very sweet moments with your family and friends as well. Mr. Mahesh Kumar, thank you for joining us as well from the Islamabad studio. I hope everything goes very peacefully, because we're here to celebrate Diwali for all of you, because this is, as a nation, as a country, we're here to support each other, because we're all Pakistanis at the end, as Mr. Mahesh Kumar has said. We're all Pakistanis, and Pakistan definitely, it always comes first, because Pakistan lives in our heart. Of course, our religions are very, very important, and they have equal place in our heart, and that is exactly why we have to build interfaith harmony among each other. And that is why a Muslim was interviewing a Hindu, and that's the significance of interfaith harmony. I want to learn more about them, and they want to learn more about us. So this is what this is all about. Happy Diwali to all of you, and I hope it is filled with all the lights and colors in your life as well for the future. Thank you for joining us. Take care.